Welcome, everyone, to the HeroX Innovation Leadership Speaker Series. I'm Jamie Elliott. I'm joined today by Annalyce D'Agostino-Gavin, Creative Development and Innovation Strategist at the Feliciano Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Montclair State University. Annalyce, it's really great to have you here. Tell us about yourself and your innovation journey.
Well, thank you so much for having me here, Jamie. And it's funny because I backstepped into entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship and innovation to me go hand in hand. And I just always thought all my life that I loved being creative. I thought of business and entrepreneurship as suits and investors and these big ideas that seem so incomprehensible. And then one day I had my own business. Focus posters. It's a way to create visual schedules for kids with characters you design to look like them. And it
Oh,
started
cool.
because, yeah, thank you. A friend of mine's son had trouble cleaning his room. And he said, well, if there was a poster that showed him the steps. So we worked on it together to create a poster that showed a character that looked like his son. And his son loved it, was able to clean his room successfully. And we're like, there is something here. And it's like, what if there was a web app where parents can create that themselves? And then we looked into that and realized that it was possible. And we started to talk to parents. They thought it was a great idea. And I was also working part-time at a medical school then. And I was like, and what if we brought it to hospitals? And I was like, I think I'm being innovative. And then I realized this is a business and I must be a business owner. And this isn't just a fun little creative project anymore. This is something important. And I actually got involved with the Feliciano Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Montclair State because they were hosting this big event for women entrepreneurship and they were hosting an Ignite Entrepreneurs Accelerator. And I thought, I guess this is it. I guess this is where I'm supposed to be. And once I immersed myself in the community, I'm like, I'm here. I found them.
That's really cool. I think it's always interesting to hear these stories on how folks end up in innovation. I haven't met too many that set out to study it, like intentionally, like I want to study innovation. It's usually folks that think differently about something or just try to solve a problem and then end up there and end up with like-minded people around them. So that's really, really cool. What are you working on at Montclair right now?
Yeah, so I went in actually as a graphic designer. I had worked with them. They had knew me from my business and I went through Ignite Entrepreneurs. I won their pitch competition for focus posters, which helped significantly with funding. And they needed a graphic designer. I had those skills. It worked perfectly to build my business and work part-time there as a graphic designer. And then when I got in there, I really loved to see how passionate students were about their things, their
Yeah.
callings, what they feel like are their callings. Because at that age, you're really figuring yourself out. You're independent and you're learning so much in this new environment. And that's where you see innovation in their minds start to happen. And it was really, we were at a holiday flea market that one of the departments had hosted, and students were selling different products that they created. They were showcasing different services. And I was like, they're entrepreneurs and they probably don't even know it. Because back then, I remember I was a college student at Montclair State and I loved creating earrings. And I was making
Mhm.
these web series too for children's content. And entrepreneurship never crossed my mind. I'm like, what if it's not crossing theirs?
Mm.
Entrepreneurship changed my life in how I could bring my ideas into potentially a global audience. What if they don't know that right now? So I went back to the team and I said, we got to do this for entrepreneurs. And I have to say, I work with the most amazing, supportive team. Teamwork really does make the dream work, especially at the center. And they're like, go for it. And we had our first creators marketplace in February, another one
Cool.
in April. We had over 40 vendors for each. We had wait lists. We had another one in September, also 40 plus wait list. Uh, and the best thing about it was students were so energized to be there. You could see the light in their eyes. We mandated that to be a part of it, you have to come and pick up a vendor education packet. You got to learn the basics. Are you pricing your products right? You're not underselling yourself. Are you putting
Wow.
out a good display that represents your brand? How's your call to action? Are you letting people know, yes, they can shop your services or your products once they leave here today? So how are they checking all the boxes for what they need to know to be a productive small business owner and entrepreneur? And they all came to pick up their packets. They're so excited. Every event, And they ask, when's the next one? When's the next one? I have other students asking, can you let me know the timing between the first one and the second one of the semester? Because I want to know if I'll have enough inventory. And to be at those events is so energizing to see them interact. We're in a post-COVID world where a lot of these students were online, separated from
Right.
the world for a long period of time. So now they are out, they are putting themselves out there. And these entrepreneurial skills are life skills and they are killing it.
You've touched on something there with regard to your community, the students, that energy, and as access. And you didn't say it specifically, so I want to dive into it a little bit. Because what we see at HeroX when we design and run challenge competitions or crowdsourcing activities and build communities around solving problems, a lot of it has to do with how we design these things and design a challenge around a problem so that it's accessible to more people than the typical players, right? If you can solve problems using grants and contracts, and those work and they have their place. But when you want a fresh mindset and when you want to give that access to those that wouldn't typically think that they could solve that problem or be a part of solving that problem, it opens up the world and you get this energy. And you mentioned an accelerator that you were a part of. So I'm curious about how Montclair and you were a part of all of that.
Absolutely. So, Ignite Entrepreneurs, I was in the pilot program of it, the first launch. So, I was coming in fresh and they said, "Hey, do you want to join this cohort?" And I was like, "Why not?" I think that's been a lot of my attitude towards everything in my life. And I think it's part of the entrepreneurial spirit to say, why not? And with Ignite, now at cohort 8, I have an amazing supervisor that runs that program. They really created it to support community members and students. It's a 20-week accelerator. It brings you everything you need to know about starting a business, from the innovation aspect, the marketing, the branding, the legal. You get free mentorship through it, free to students, low cost to community members. And the amazing thing is they're doing it together. So you have students who are just trying to figure this out. You have community members who've maybe been in business a few years, want to fill in some knowledge gaps, want to learn some new tools, get a community, and everyone's meshing together in this beautiful way. And the network that we've created through entrepreneurship with Ignite Entrepreneurs has been incredible. Right now, we're doing a holiday gift guide. I said to Dana, the program marketing manager, I am so overwhelmed because there are so many people submitting and excited to promote their products and
Wow.
services. It's the best type of overwhelming feeling because I'm like, how do we promote all of them? Because there's not enough time in the calendar, it feels like.
That's great.
Um, it's so exciting to see. And they all brought so much of their life experience, whether they're a student or a community entrepreneur, and they are bringing their passions and their experiences together. And it's a beautiful process to watch and to flip through the guide, this digital guide now, almost done with it for the
That's
holiday season. And they're all different. And even if they're similar industries, they just come with so many different innovative aspects because of maybe barriers they've seen in an industry, or this needs to be different because of this. So the energy that they infuse is so inspiring. And that's a community that I can't say I have many folks that do what I do with focus posters, but I'm like, we're like the same person. Like you get that passion and that you just want to put it out there. And it's a beautiful thing to find that camaraderie.
Indeed. Indeed. It's very inspirational. What is the Creators Corner?
Creators Corner. After we saw that Creators Marketplace was a huge hit and we had students asking, when's the next one? How do I get more involved? How do I be a part of this? We have this alcove in our center. It was previously used, had paper on the walls for people to put information about their student businesses. But otherwise, no one really went in this little alcove, like a 10 by 10 space. And I was like, what if we used it as a pop up for a student business every week? And I mentioned before, the team I work with is amazing and so supportive. And they're like, sure. And I looked up the different cabinets we could use. I said, okay, they have to be glass cabinets so people can shop their business when they're not there because they're students. How much time can they really commit? We asked them to
Sure.
commit like maybe 3 hours a week that they're there, just to be present and have their business hours, but we want to be able to showcase their products regardless. So I remember the director of the center, Liz Rich, and we were assembling these glass cabinets and thinking like, will this work? Will this actually work? And we started in September. By the way, we're now experts at assembling glass cabinets, but we started in September and it was incredible because I have these orientations with students. I create this vendor education workbook, essentially
Wow.
a very expanded version of the vendor education from Creators Marketplace, because we're treating this like it's their mini micro retail shop. So we say these are the type of signage you need. You need this type of call to action. You need to have a website or some kind of online presence for your business. So we have a vendor education workbook that I created. It's very similar to Creators Marketplace, except much more expanded. So they have this 10 by 10 space and they have their glass lockable cabinet. So it goes into their call to actions, their business website or their Instagram handles, how they can set up their area, how they can look into bundle pricing for different pricing. They can look into their pricing to make sure that they're not underselling their product. And the really cool thing about it is that students have questions and they want to learn and they want to see how can they expand on this. We have suggestions for social media. I'm a big social media gal, and I used to work at a video production company, so content is my bread and butter. So talking about how you can maximize this opportunity for content, filming
Right.
before and afters, filming friends coming into the store and talking about their favorite products. And the great part about it is that I am able to use Canva templates. So I create
Oh, yeah.
templates through Canva and I say, like, let's say an example, business hours. So I just create a sample business hours, sample pricing list, sample about sign, and students log in and they make it their own. They brand it themselves. They already have ideas of what the parameters are and what they should be showing. So to be able to put their brand on it, their logo, their colors, it really starts to feel like their own micro retail shop. And I walked in on Monday and one of our students had her crochet business set up and there was a line. And I was like, you have a line? It's 10 a.m. on a Monday morning and you have a line. It was incredible because they were students that I don't think she knew and they were just checking out her products. They were hanging around. And this is the experience we want them to get. Another student sat on the floor painting and did an Instagram live to get folks to come into her shop. And I said, man, I got to do that for my own business. I don't paint, but I should think about it. So it's inspiring to see this
Yeah.
generation and how they take initiative in such inspiring ways.
Are there any other examples that stood out to you? I'm not asking you to name favorites or anything, but anything that was impactful, like what you just shared about the live stream with the painting and things.
There was a student, I think she was on the cusp of graduating and she already had a corporate job and she arranged a mentorship session with me. And it was leading up to the pitch competition. We do pitch competitions at the end of Ignite Entrepreneurs.
Oh,
It's
that's
a really
great.
incredible way. Yeah, incredible way to get funding. And she was one of the finalists. And she said, oh, I'd like to talk about my deck. I help with, design and all that. I said, awesome, sounds great. She's a jewelry company. And I remember having the Zoom with her and being like, where are you? And she's like, oh, I'm on my lunch break. And there's like banging packages in the background. And I don't even know if she was in a real break room, but she just made it work. And I think what's amazing is seeing these students that make it work between all of their responsibilities, because not every student really has the luxury of just focusing on studies, just in general. College students
Right.
have a lot that could be on their plates, and seeing how, despite all of the priorities on their list, they're still making that a priority between, working that full-time job before graduation and trying to figure it out. They are in that back room, getting that 1 hour mentorship call in to ace their presentation and feel confident about it. I'm like, you go, girl. Like, that is inspiring.
Yeah. I
And then
think
she was working on her deck until like 2 a.m. And I was like, wow, that's energy that just grasp onto it.
I think what's interesting to me is a phrase we often hear is untapped potential, right? But the examples that you're giving are when an organization like the center and like Montclair, right? They are seizing the opportunity to tap the potential. There is so much potential in these students, in not only in creating these amazing things and creating experiences, but in discovering themselves in a time when they are there to discover themselves and what they're made of and what
Yeah.
they have the potential for. And it sounds like you all are really doing your best to give them the opportunity to shine, which is really, really great to see.
Thank you, Jamie. And like every week at every team meeting, it's such a priority for our team to say, how can we best serve them and keep serving them? And you said
Wow.
seize the opportunity. Montclair State has a catchphrase that I feel like I've seen all over it, seize the day.
Wow.
So encouraging the students to seize the day, but also we help them seize that opportunity because I think about, I wish I knew this, back when I was
Yeah.
their age. And I wish there were these opportunities that I knew of
Right.
at 20 years old. And, the most amazing part about it too is it's amazing, but it's also kind of sad that this is one of the few opportunities in their life. They will have so much at their fingertips for free. And there's almost this pressure to take advantage of it, which I hope they do. But it's sad that isn't always that opportunity in the real world, to have things for free, but we do make it as accessible as possible and low cost for our community entrepreneurs to keep that going as much as we can.
Right. This touches on actually the next thing I wanted to ask about because I do think that speaker series like this, where someone at a company who has interns, for example, might think, "Well, maybe we could do something to have them shine a bit and see what they have, what ideas they have about improving things or turning things around." What advice would you have for those organizations or for anyone trying to solve problems the way you're solving problems, or for any students that are looking for opportunities like this?
For employers, organizations, I would say the best way to start it is making them feel comfortable in whatever that looks like. The reason I feel like I can always go to the team and say, I have this idea is because they have made it a culture of innovation and a culture of let's pivot whatever we need to pivot to make sure we're meeting needs and helping people, helping our community, helping our students. And I feel like as an organization, when you show that there is heart and mission into what you're doing and that you show I am all ears. That's the way innovation happens. And that's the way folks come forward to share what they see would be a good path. For students, I would say if you have an innovation center, an entrepreneurship center, go in for a chat. Say, I'd like help with this. Because chances are, if you are in an entrepreneurial space, they will welcome you with open arms. The entrepreneurial community is so great. And we just had our New Jersey Small Business Summit recently. I was one of the speakers and I said to my parents, like, do you want to come for my presentation? I think it's going to be a good one. And my dad's a little quieter. He's a businessman, CFO. My mom's an artist, and I come from the best of two worlds. We were at a family party the next week, and he said to my uncle, what a great experience. Like,
That's great.
what an event they put on. And he's like, everyone was so great and they were so friendly. I thought that's entrepreneurs for you.
Yeah,
They
indeed.
want to bring you into their world and they want to get to know your world. I think part of that entrepreneurial spirit is openness. So for students, look at for your local entrepreneurship group. If it's not at your school, you probably have chambers of commerce that are local with small business owners. They want to bring you in. They want to teach you and they want to embrace you.
That's great. That's great advice. And if our listeners want to learn more and get involved with the work you're doing with the center, with Montclair, where can they go to learn more?
I will always pitch our Instagram because I think it shows the
Okay,
latest and greatest. We
great.
do have, you look up the Feliciano Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Montclair State University, you'll bring to our webpage, which that does has a wealth of information. But also, I totally recommend you follow us on Instagram because we have a lot of fun things happening. And you can see our network of entrepreneurs. And that
Awesome.
is Montclair_entrepreneurs. Make sure you're spelling
Awesome.
entrepreneurs right. E and U get a little tricky
That'll
for
get you.
every.
Excellent. Annalyce, it was really, really great connecting with you today. And thank you so much for sharing. And thank you for the work you're doing to support young entrepreneurs.
And thank you so much for showcasing me, Jamie. I am so thrilled to share the message, especially to students, to young people. Embrace your inner entrepreneur. You'll go far.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.